interviews with people who are on a stage show called Reality Bites, and it opens on Tuesday and it goes through for 2 weeks. You'll find it at the Arches Theatre next to Battersea Power Station, and I take it from me, it's well worth going. I've got an interview here. I'm going to leave it to run its course, but it struck me that the organizations like Ofcom, which has got rules now for protecting reality TV participants, they came out in 2019, and it often sounds reassuringly simple. Producers must take due care over participants' welfare. Vulnerable people must have extra safeguards. Shows must avoid causing unjustified distress. But it sounds robust, but these rules are glib in practice for two reasons. First of all, the vague language, this due care, is an elastic term, and there's no precise benchmark for what unjustified distress might mean. And there's limited enforcement power, or indeed protection. The real problems for participants are the hidden problems. The contracts are often signed in speed. The editing process is something you don't see. The aftercare is filled with gaps. And the power imbalance is something that I think people don't talk about. The performers have little bargaining power and minimal legal literacy. They accept harmful terms for a chance, either to please or to acquire fame. What we need is something like, there's an organization in the US which has started. We need something like that here. It's called UCAN. It's trying to organize reality TV performers as a group with shared interests, like a union, because Equity in the UK says, well, there's a fellow who runs Equity called Fleming. He said to me, oh, well, it's not difficult to perform as yourself. Reality TV performers are just themselves. They're not really performing. Actually, I can say, having done it, it's really hard to be yourself. Reality TV performers need legal advocacy. We need to stop the exploitation of these people, to try to make sure the contracts are not as exploitative as they are, where they strip away performers' rights. And UCAN, for example, raises public awareness so that these shows are not simply harmless entertainment, but commercial products that are built on manipulation. They're built on formulae, consciously built on formulae that go all the way back to rather pernicious pseudoscientific experiments that took place in the 1960s. And the long-term aftercare which is required, rather than just short-term counseling, exposure to the constraints of reality TV really requires lasting resources to handle reputational damage, online abuse, mental health needs. And UK reality TV regulation is reactive. It's been driven by scandal, by public outrage, and what is necessary is a clear, enforceable legal rights framework. UCAN's approach is proactive. It's doing the right thing. It's seeking contractual reform, collective bargaining, but the UK lacks an equivalent body that speaks out for performers, leaving them isolated and vulnerable. And Britain's reliance on Ofcom and Ofcom's light touch or lazy touch, I don't know quite what we'd say, post hoc regulation, is woefully inadequate. What is needed is something closer to the UCAN model, with collective bargaining, with enforced minimum standards in contracts and sustained care beyond the show's life cycle. Until then, talk of producing reality TV participants must be seen as a worrying concept rather than a comforting illusion. We should be able to protect reality TV participants, but even that is certainly not being done by Ofcom. Anyway, here's a second interview with a fellow who is in the show Reality Bites, and I think he's fantastic. Listen in.
Hello, Lewis.
Hello.
And you're playing
I play Chris.
Chris. And I've just been watching a little bit of you performing.
A little sneaky preview.
And I was making a noise, and I was very, very distracting. But you seem to have, you're all one character, but you seem to have lots of different aspects of this character. You're quite aggressive.
Yes. I would say that my character is the academic of the four. And
right.
He's kind of studying, almost a bit like yourself, I suppose.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
He is essentially studying the effects of reality TV on individuals and those that essentially appear on the show.
Oh my goodness! Well, there's quite a lot of people doing that. In Leicester, I think they're doing a project on this at the moment.
Okay.
It's something that's needed.
I think it should be done. I don't think that we really take enough time. One of my first thoughts, actually, when looking at reality TV, was that there probably should be some sort of mechanic around therapy. After appearing on the show, there should be at least 6 weeks or something given to the winners.
Well, it must be more than 6 weeks, I'm afraid.
So something, not just ticking a box.
It
basically.
takes about it. In my case, it took. I thought it took about a year, but my friends told me it took me nearly 3 years to recover. And I had a good time. I was lucky. But I know people who wanted to kill themselves genuinely.
Yeah.
And I stepped in, and they took years to recover. But the longer you're on these shows, the more damage it does. The show in this particular show seems to be something like Naked Attraction. Am I right, or am I allowed to say? We can't say. Oh no!
We can't draw comparisons.
We can't talk about it. No. Right. Okay.
I think the audience would find some comparisons between the show that we're portraying and what exists.
Very exploitative. Last year, about this time, I had a really wonderful panel with the fellow with the teeth, Rylan.
Right.
Rylan. He does a. He does a. What? No.
No.
You've got lovely teeth.
I couldn't think of it.
But Rylan does this thing where he's the compere for a show entirely with naked people. It does seem terribly exploitative.
It does, and I think there's this kind of, people almost want their 15 seconds of fame, and I think they're probably led up
and
a
they
bit
will do anything to get it.
100%.
But I don't think they realise what
they're
it is.
misled, by production. They have their interviews and their auditions as such beforehand, but I think that process is also a little bit skewed from what the reality of it potentially could be. I think that there are guidelines that exist that for media, films, TV, radio, on how they portray things and aftercare, and that doesn't really seem to exist as guidelines for reality TV. And I think that that's something that we really need to look in, and that's what this production really shines a light on.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing it. I'm so looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Do you feel it's sort of roller coaster emotionally?
It is. My character goes on an incredible journey. He talks a lot about his personal life.
Yeah.
And he draws comparisons between, I suppose, the idea of what we see on the TV screens and ourselves and the human condition that we then exploit or trivialize.
Yes.
All those moments of, PTSD, rejection, body dysmorphia, we live with that every single day.
Yeah.
He explores all of those moments and how it really relates back to this idea of reality TV and what you're watching on the screen.
And the fact that you've got more than one personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to choose, or someone else is choosing, someone else is editing what goes on.
Absolutely. My character actually masks himself behind this grand, kind of almost like a presenter himself.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But he masks who he really is so that he can almost fit in and be chosen and find love. But he's still not quite there.
Well, my impression of reality TV is it rocks everything around the person who is on it.
Yeah.
Everything goes. I've lost quite a number of really good friends, and I would say that's down to reality TV. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
And I think not necessarily in a good way. The show itself was great. But your show looks tremendous. I'm really looking forward to it. People have to come. You have to say, come and see the show.
You have to come and see the show. It's on at Archers Lane Theatre in Battersea, and we're on until the 20th of July.
No, that's a long run, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
really?
it is.
My
so
goodness.
plenty of opportunities.
You've got Just one thing. You've got this long monologue. Is it? Are the monologues? It's 1, 2, 3.
4 monologues, and they are interconnected. Each story has their own little
goodness.
nuggets of, I suppose, information and backstory.
So it's all
which
basically the
combine
same.
to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very. So as the audience, we have to sort of piece this together.
You do, and it's a bit of a journey for the audience too. Each character takes you on that journey, not only through their lives, but then those little nuggets to kind of think, oh, that links to this. The fourth monologue links to the second or the first. It's it keeps you on your toes.
So it's like the Marvel universe.
It's
almost
almost
like the Marvel universe. There we are.
I
you
could
see.
die and
Right.
come back to life again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.